Jaiprar ma'am. I would like you to brief us about the Indo-Pak situation and Indo-Pak history and the terrorism that is been going on and how the countries are dealing with it and things like that.
You see, Indo-Pak relations, as far as a broad aspect is concerned, has been very bitter and sour since the independence. 1947-48, when we got independence, that is the time when even Pakistan got independence. And during this independence partition time, you know, there were two countries made. One was Pakistan and one was Hindustan. Now, the story of partition is again very sad, because many people lost their lands, many people had to leave their families and go to another country and stay there, and etc. Let's not talk about partition. But then if you see on a broader sense, some part of Kashmir was with Pakistan as well. But then Pakistan thought that, you know, the major part of Jammu and Kashmir is with India. And Kashmir, they thought, was like their land, because Kashmir was very beautiful and उनका सरताज उसको समझते थे. तो कश्मीर हमें कोई भी हालत में चाहिए. और इसके लिए उन्होंने 1947-48 में they started sending infiltrators into the country, and who started a war with India. घुसपैठी जिनको हम कहते हैं, कि भेस बदल कर आए घुसपैठी, and they started a war with India. Now, when they started a war with India, naturally the Indian troops were also pumped into Jammu and Kashmir, and there was this full-fledged war for getting Jammu and Kashmir. That was what Pakistan was doing, और भारत उसे डिफेंड कर रहा था. भारत को जम्मू एंड कश्मीर अपने साथ ही चाहिए था, बिकॉज ऑफ द हिस्ट्री. राजा हरी सिंह, एंड वी ऑल नो द हिस्ट्री. हुआ ऐसे कि वी वर बीइंग सक्सेसफुल in thwarting away the Pakistanis from entire Jammu and Kashmir. We know that पूरा जम्मू कश्मीर ये हमारा है और हमारा ही रहेगा. बट हुआ ऐसे था उस साल कि जम्मू कश्मीर से हमारी जो भारतीय सेना थी वो पाकिस्तानियों को खदेड़ रही थी बाहर. अब खदेड़ रही थी, ये जब युद्ध शुरू हुआ तो आर फर्स्ट प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ द कंट्री, पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू, ही डिड नॉट लाइक दिस वॉर, एंड ही वाज स्कैर्ड कि कुछ अगर और हो जाए और बहुत ज़्यादा खून खराबा होगा एंड ऑल दिस स्टफ. सो ही वांटेड पीस, एंड he thought that, you know, we should go to the United Nations, and United Nations probably would solve this problem of war. But our then Home Minister, Mr. Sardar Patel, he said that let us not be in a hurry to go to United Nations, because what will the United Nations do? It cannot do anything more but call for a ceasefire. And the moment ceasefire is called, both the armies will have to stop wherever they are. जिसका हिस्सा जिसके पास है वो उसके पास चला जाएगा, and we will probably lose a lot of land of Jammu and Kashmir. So let us hold on. We are being successful, our army is being successful in thwarting away back the Pakistanis. उनको हम पीछे खदेड़ रहे हैं, हमें उन्हें पूरा जम्मू कश्मीर से खदेड़ने दीजिए और फिर हम जाएंगे यूनाइटेड नेशंस. बट पंडित नेहरू probably was very restless. He didn't listen to सरदार पटेल, एंड ही वेंट टू द यूनाइटेड नेशंस. और जैसे सोचा था बिल्कुल वैसे ही हुआ. यूनाइटेड नेशंस कॉल फॉर अ सीज फायर, एंड बोथ द आर्मीज दे स्टॉप्ड वेरेवर दे आर. वेयर दे आर, जहाँ पर रुके दोनों सेनाएं, दैट इज कॉल्ड द LOC, दैट इज लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल. इट मीन्स दैट द पाक ऑक्युपाइड कश्मीर, दैट स्टिल इज ऑक्युपाइड बाय पाकिस्तान, एंड दैट एंटायर एरिया इज विद पाकिस्तान. बट it is an illegal occupation by Pakistan. It is an illegal occupation by Pakistan. All right. Now, since POK is with Pakistan, Pakistan started using this land for its vested interest, because the entire Jammu and Kashmir above POK is very, very beautiful, and it is very picturesque. But then ऊंची ऊंची पहाड़ियाँ हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा बर्फबारी होती है, and that area is kind of neglected by Pakistan. And not only neglected by Pakistan, but then the people of POK are being tortured day and night by Pakistan, exactly like the Baluchis. Now, Baluchis also have a very long history. If you go to the origin of Balochistan, you know, that again goes to many decades back, and they have a very, very strong history. Even Balochistan, Pakistan has, illegally occupied Balochistan, and they're committing atrocities and troubling people there, and they're killing Baluchis, and they're treating them actually as slaves. And that is why you have this Baluchi Liberation Army, and you have all the activities there going on in Balochistan for their freedom, basically. And so is, POK. In POK also people are not happy. The people there are not at all happy about how Pakistan is trying to take control of them, and etc. Now, you see, what happened after 47-48 is that Pakistan did not like it that the United Nations called for a ceasefire. Pakistan in fact wanted to take the entire Jammu and Kashmir and entire Srinagar and till the borders of Jammu and Kashmir. So this was their aim. Now, what happened after that? After that, many years passed by. We had the 1965 Indo-Pak War. Basically, Pakistan thought that after the 1962 debacle of Indian Army after the China War, but that was not a fact. It was not a debacle. Our soldiers, they fought very bravely, very valiantly, and they proved their valor. And Pakistan thought that, probably Indian Army has become very, very weak after the 62 war, and this is the right time to attack again India and again grab Kashmir, which is our ultimate aim. Now you see, why Pakistan is behind Jammu and Kashmir is there is a very conspicuous angle to it, because Pakistan not only fought the 47-65 war, but it also fought the 71 war and also Kargil only for Pakistan. Only for Jammu and Kashmir. So why is this Jammu and Kashmir the main agenda of Pakistan? Why is Jammu and Kashmir so important to Pakistan? There is a reason to it. You see, any country and every country is famous for certain achievements of theirs. They have particular brands, or they have a great economy, or they have scientists, or they have important installations which are world famous. They have something like this which recognizes a country in the world. Now, what does Pakistan have? If you probe into Pakistan, Pakistan doesn't have anything of this. If you go to Pakistan, Pakistan is in utter poverty because of the government not doing anything for the countrymen. Whatever money the government is getting, it is routing it to the terror training. It is routing it for the terror financing, and the entire business houses in Pakistan are owned by the Pakistan Army. So Pakistan Army rarely has got any combat role, or it very rarely does any kind of actual soldiering. The Pakistan Army is more into business. You talk about the big generals in Pakistan. They've got acres and acres of land. They've got huge acres of government land, and they bought the government land for some meager amount. And what are they doing on this land? They have big huge farmhouses, and they live like rajas, and they live like emperors there. You will see main products in Pakistan which are made by the Indian Army. And this is how made by the Pakistan Army, sorry, correction. And this is how the Pakistan Army earns money. So they are no longer into kind of actual soldiering or actual combat. They are more into all these business strategies and all these things. And this is the exact reason why Pakistan is into deep poverty. The second thing is there is no important brand, no famous, world famous brand in Pakistan, जिसकी वजह से भाई पाकिस्तान को पूरी दुनिया जानती है. ये सब नहीं है पाकिस्तान के पास. तो पाकिस्तान के पास भैया है क्या कि उसको पूरी दुनिया जाने. तो इसीलिए हमारा नाम कहीं बने तो हमारी जंग है कश्मीर को हड़पने. तो हमें कैसा फेमस होना है? टेररिज्म करके. हम कैसे दुनिया में फेमस हो सकते हैं? आतंकवादियों को ट्रेनिंग देके, एंड टू सेंड दोस टेररिस्ट अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड. This is their best industry, and this is their factory. And this is a fact. This is a fact why Pakistan is, you know, really into a very, very bad state. And that is why today all the political parties are against Imran Khan. All the political parties are protesting. All the political parties are carrying on huge protests to Islamabad. And they are conducting rallies and they are speaking against Imran Khan so very strongly. This is the only reason. And what people want is, the people want the government of Pakistan to work for the people of Pakistan. But then whichever government comes into power in Pakistan, it turns out to be in favor of the Pakistan army. पाकिस्तान में ऐसा हिसाब किताब है कि तुमको अगर गवर्नमेंट बनानी है तो तुमको भाई पाकिस्तान आर्मी की सपोर्ट होनी चाहिए. यू नो, द पाकिस्तान आर्मी डज द मेजर कैंपेनिंग किसी पार्टी के लिए अगर तुमको गवर्नमेंट बनानी है. तो दिस इज द इंटरनल केस ऑफ पाकिस्तान. तो दैट इज वाई पाकिस्तान इज बिहाइंड जम्मू एंड कश्मीर, कि सम हाउ वी शुड बी नोन इन द वर्ल्ड, or rather, you know, somehow the world should be terrified by us. You know, we should be the boss, and we should ensure that the world is under our feet. इसके लिए Pakistan does all these activities. Now, Pakistan tried in 65, but in 65 also they fell on their face. 71 हमने तो 2 टुकड़े कर दिए पाकिस्तान के. We created Bangladesh, and you know, they had, that was a great humiliation for Pakistan when 93,000 soldiers had to surrender in front of Indian army. So that was a great humiliating incident. Plus in 99 as well, Kargil, we thwarted them back drastically and horribly. And this, in fact, the Kargil war is the best known war in the whole world, which is fought at such great altitudes, high altitudes. And even after 99, so Pakistan basically understood that we cannot win against India in a conventional one-to-one warfare. So then what should we do? So then terrorism. You see, Pakistan's theory is bleed India with 1,000 cuts. Bleed India with 1,000 cuts. This means that एक बार से भारत को खत्म नहीं करना, उसको ऐसे धीरे धीरे शरीर में कट करा कर खून बहा कर. This is the way Pakistan wants to trouble, and Pakistan wants to kind of destroy India. ये पाकिस्तान की theory है, और यही उनका if I say, you know, from the time they have been born in 47, यही उनका मोटो है जिंदगी का, यही उनके जन्म का मोटो है कि भाई इंडिया को बर्बाद करना. That is their only motto. Okay, now since this, you know, kind of these wars did not materialize, Pakistan thought that sending mercenaries into India, trained terrorists, to ensure that India doesn't remain peaceful is the best mode. You people might be knowing that Pak-occupied Kashmir has got all terror training camps. And there are many terrorist organizations, not one, not two, but more than 15 odd terrorist organizations. All these different terrorist organizations thrive in Pakistan. Some faction, किसी एक मौलाना का किसी के साथ पटा नहीं तो वो दूसरी तरफ चला गया. He made a different terror organization. So this goes on in Pakistan, and this is how there are these terror organizations. Now, how does Pakistan fund these terrorists? Now, you see, the reason why I call Pakistani army as Buzdil army, coward army, Pakistan army doesn't have the guts to face to face with the Indian army, and that is why it has taken this, you know, kind of sasta sundar or tikau nuska of training terrorists and sending terrorists across the country. May it be any kind of terror attack. Even if you talk from the 1993 bomb blast and the other bomb blast in Pune, and you have the terrorist attack in Pune and Mumbai, you have this 26/11. Today's 26/11. So 26/11, and you have this Uri, Nagrota, Pathankot. Then you have Pulwama. You talk of any kind of terror attack. You have Delhi terror attacks, the Sarojini Nagar terror attack. You talk of any terror attack in India, it has been done only and only by Pakistan trained terrorists. Now, how do these people, they do these terror attacks? You see, it is very easy to train terrorists and to radicalize terrorists. That is their major work which they do. They radicalize terrorists, they train terrorists, they fund terrorists, and they lure the terrorists. They lure the terrorists that if you do this, you know, this is kind of a very holy work for you. This is Allah's work for you. And if you die in this action, you will go to Seedha Jannat milegi tumhe, or that is what everybody wants, because you are dying in war. And they claim it to be a war. And they actually drug these terrorists and they send them across. No, this is, the terror business is so vast. You never know from where Pakistan gets all the funds. They get all the funds from Middle East to continue this terror activities, and they get this fund from all different kind of countries, enemies of a particular country against which you're trying to do all these terror activities and all this stuff. What happens is, when these terrorists are trained, you know, they are trained in all kind of lethal warfare, and Pakistan army trains them. Baqaida इनका training camps है Pak occupied Kashmir में, and in Pak occupied Kashmir they get their entire training. Then they come to the launch pads of the near the LOC. Now what are these launch pads? You see, after you are trained completely, then you go near the LOC and you stay there for some time. You observe the Indian troops movement at the LOC who are guarding the borders. Okay, they observe that, they see that when is the change of guard taking place, or when do these people change, and when can we escape, where can we find the route. So they try to sneak into the country via these routes. Now, since the LOC has been sealed totally after the Kargil war, you have barbed wires, but then whatever said and done, there are certain pockets which during the winter season and during the snowfall, it gets probably, you know, these it gets blocked, and or you know, they can, it's very easy for them to sneak inside. So now they have searched for another kind of route, and they dig tunnels. You won't believe, recently we found a tunnel which entered India through the Samba sector, and the terrorists had come from that tunnel, and there was huge cache of arms which was found there, about 11 AK-47s and ammunitions and grenades and whole lot of things. It was a kind of you know, एक साजिश थी वो 26/11 के हिसाब से, कि 26/11 जैसा एक हादसा उनको करना था भारत में कभी, and this was their aim. Now they have dug huge long tunnels and they come through tunnels. So look at their desperation to make India bleed with 1,000 cuts, and they're not going to mellow down. They're not going to understand unless and until, you know, we break the head of Pakistan. And the reason of all these terror activities, भाई एक आतंकवादी का क्या दोष है? उसको जो सिखाया जाएगा, उसको जिस काम के लिए भेजा जाएगा, वही काम का वो करेगा. लेकिन इसके पीछे कौन है? इसके पीछे उसका कोई सरगना नहीं होगा, उसका हेड नहीं है आतंकवादी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का. वो भी तो एक, he is just a puppet, he is just a mohra. He is being rooted to do all this by the Pakistan army. So there's this bigger you know, person who does all this, and the root cause of all this trouble in Pakistan is the Pakistan army. So we have to break, you know, the head of Pakistan army, and that is very necessary. Unless and until we do that, unless and until Pakistan का जब तक तुम आवाज नहीं बंद करोगे, पाकिस्तान आर्मी को जब तुम धूल नहीं चटाओगे, तब तक this problem will carry on like this, and India will have to keep fighting these terrorists off and on. We've lost so many soldiers, so many officers we've lost fighting against these terrorists. So, and it is not that you know, we lose officers or we lose soldiers because the terrorists are better trained. We lose officers, we lose soldiers because we are in an area which is our area. We are, you know, those terrorists, they stay in places where there are our people staying, where there are our civilians staying. So to conduct any operation, it is very difficult. where will we fire? If say suppose due to firing, if one of the citizens of Jammu and Kashmir gets hurt or God forbid something happens to him, then we'll be killing our own countrymen. So that is why we have to be all the more careful when we conduct operations in Jammu and Kashmir. हमारे लोग हैं भाई, हमारे citizens हैं, हम उनको ऐसे ही नहीं मार सकते. And this thing the terrorist knows. The terrorist, that is why ये रहते हैं ऐसे इलाके में जहाँ पर बहुत भीड़ भाड़ का इलाका हो, बहुत सारे घर हो, क्लस्टर में घर हो, एकदम आसपास हो, ऐसे इलाके में वो लोग रहते हैं और वहाँ से ऑपरेट करते हैं. तो naturally when the Indian Army has to conduct operations, it has to go there, it has to create a scene where, you know, where these terrorists are nabbed or rather killed, you know. But this rarely happens. But killing is necessary of the terrorist, because if the terrorist surrenders himself, then it is a different thing. If we catch a terrorist alive, then you say we can get information from him. But when a terrorist is heavily armed, we should ensure that he is killed first. Otherwise, you will have incidents like Captain Varun Singh. He was a Navy captain, and during an action, he killed those 2 terrorists, and while falling down, that terrorist had his finger on the trigger of an AK-47, and while falling down, the bullet hit the terrorist. So while falling down on the ground, his finger on the trigger, it got pressed, and bullets were showered, and Captain Varun Singh got very seriously injured. He came out of it. That is a different thing. He was a Marcos Commandos. He came out of it. But then, you know, these things do happen when you are heavily armed. So that is why, you know, even conducting operations by the Indian Army in the valley is pretty difficult. But then you should really grant it to the Indian Army that they are doing excellent. They are doing an excellent work, an excellent job in Jammu and Kashmir, which is absolutely beyond words. You're fighting against terrorists. You're fighting in an area which is your own area, which is your who are your own people, and you are in an area which is familiar to you. Yet, you know, you have to protect people. You have to ensure that nobody hurts our people, and yet you have to kill the terrorist. So it's such a difficult job. Plus, you know, the Indian Army also does a lot of confidence building with the Kashmiri citizens. They do a lot of social work for the people of Kashmir to increase their confidence, so that, you know, they should come out with information and tell us if there are any terrorists, because the terrorist not only harms the security forces, it harms the civilians as well. Recently, we have seen in incidents they have harmed the civilians. They've targeted civilians. So we are in fact saving the civilians from these terrorists. So the issue of terrorism, and as far as Pakistan is concerned, it is endless, and unless and until we really go about a one-to-one face-to-face action with Pakistan, and we break the head of Pakistan. That is very necessary.
Further, can you elaborate on what can be done once we have caught the terrorist? And suppose in any case, whether he had surrendered or we have caught him alive, what can be done to them? Do they have to be killed, or do they have to be kept in prison?
You see, long time back, you know, there was a system, or there was a force which was called as Ikhwan, where terrorists who wanted to come back to the mainstream, you know, they kind of surrendered, and then we had you know, there was a force which was fighting against the terrorists, and they were from amongst the terrorists, but they were fighting against the terrorists to help India. So, but that was there, and that now no longer exists. But then there are many terrorists who have surrendered, and whom we have been able to counsel them and bring them to the mainstream, and we've given them good jobs, and they have turned out to be great citizens. That is very necessary, that you accept. The society should accept them. And we have one of such persons, Lance Naik Nazir Ahmad Wani, who is from Jammu and Kashmir, who hails from Jammu and Kashmir, and he fought the terrorists so bravely that he won the Ashok Chakra. And he attained Veer Gati in his action, but astounding bravery and courage. Now, since this was happening, the terrorists who surrender, they are counseled, they are turned into good citizens. The terrorists who are arrested, if they don't give in, then they are naturally dealt with in a legal way. And once we deal with Pakistan very strictly, Pakistan should understand that यार बड़े भैया से पंगा नहीं लेना चाहिए. And like one says always, ना भाई, बड़ा भाई after all बड़ा भाई होता है, and छोटे भाई ने अपने औकात में ही रहना चाहिए. That Pakistan should learn. Otherwise, things will be very, very difficult for Pakistan. And as it is, we are seeing that now things are very difficult for Pakistan. Imran Khan is on chair, I don't know for how many days, and his chair is also in danger. And another prime minister, whoever comes into place, is again going to be the same thing. And Pakistan is never going to understand. What Pakistan does is, it plays such nasty and such foul games against India. In the United Nations, you might be remembering that in one of the sessions in the General Assembly, after the Indian representative spoke against Pakistan, the Pakistan representative to the United Nations, she showed a photograph of a small girl being hit by pellets, and she said, look at this photograph, this is the way Kashmiris are being treated in Pakistan, and the Pakistan army is hitting the civilians with pellets and things like this. And just the next day, we came out with the truth that this photograph was not of Jammu and Kashmir, it was somewhere of the Middle East, it was of Syria. So this kind of foul games Pakistan has been playing, and it has been falling on its face. Look at the FATF. The FATF has put Pakistan in grey list for the third time. It is not prepared to bring Pakistan out of the grey list. So, why is it so? Because the whole world understands that Pakistan is a terror country. So much so that when in France, the French Prime Minister, he kind of, spoke against radical terrorism. All the Islamic countries rose against France and the Prime Minister of France, and they all said that we should boycott all French items, and we should, nobody can speak against Islam, Islam is supreme, and this and that. And okay, agreed, every religion has to be respected, every religion is great. But, understand what he has spoken of. He has spoken of radical terrorism. Radical terrorism. And this is very important. And now, when Pakistan requested France for upgrading its Mirage air defense systems and plus the submarines, France then said, sorry, we are not going to do it. And France turned down the offer. Now Pakistan has again fallen onto his face. So, why do this badbolepana? Why can't you think practically, logically and rationally? You should understand what are the facts and only then open your mouth. Imran Khan has always fallen on his face as far as the world scenario is concerned. In the United Nations, last year, when Imran Khan stood up to speak, he spoke all kind of utter nonsense. He literally, in the General Assembly of the United Nations, said that if the world doesn't understand the importance of Islam, then Pakistan will not think twice to pick up arms against it. This was a threatening message that he gave to the world. Now, if this kind of small, pidda little country threatens the world, and this kind of attitude if a Prime Minister has got, what is the character of the country? This shows so bad on the character of the country. So, you see, there is a lot to talk about Pakistan, but then as far as the brief is concerned, I think this thing is enough and sufficient.